I wanted to react to this amazing track that Johnny Cash has reproduced called Hurt. And I felt it really embodies what we experience as human beings at different stages of our lives, and how sometimes life can feel so crippling and regrets can haunt us. And this song for me really embodies and embraces the truth that as human beings, we are emotional. And when we're disconnected from our emotional truth and understanding ourselves at that level, we can cause so much more pain for ourselves. Let's take a look at this, because as human beings who feel and don't sometimes know how we feel and why we're feeling it, there could be a lot that we can learn through looking at this through an empathic lens.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tears a hole, the old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything.
So powerful, so real, so true. I mean, there are so many things in this life that can tear our souls apart from our humanity and can break us, can break our hearts, can break us so deeply that the pain can be overwhelming, and people choose to cope with that pain in a multitude of ways. In this particular track, he's explaining the needle, which is obviously somebody who's using drugs to escape the pain. But in truth, there are a lot of ways that people escape the pain. It's really about a human being who goes through an overwhelming experience, something that's very cruel, unfair, and harsh, and needing to know how they're going to go on and survive. Sometimes they turn to drugs, sometimes they turn to alcohol, sometimes they use sex. Sometimes it's just this hungry ghost inside of them that will just consume everything around them, because they keep trying to soothe the ache inside, the thing inside that is haunting them and hurting them continuously through their mind and their heart-body system, because there's the inability to actually cope with an experience that had happened maybe once or maybe multiple times that removed you from your ability to feel for yourself, to protect yourself, and to know how to overcome what happened and to feel like you can regain your control over reality again. Let's listen more.
What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt.
So profound. It's so profound because at the end of his life, he's realizing everything that he did to himself, everything, all the running, all the drugs, all of the women, all of the escapism, everything that he used to feel better about his life, to really live his life in this way, that it created damage. Everything that he did to cope, it no longer works. That's why he calls it his empire of dirt, because it's meaningless. Even though those of us who are Johnny Cash fans, we don't see it as meaningless. We see it as soulful, truthful, honest, amazing, authentic music. I feel that there's a part of him that recognizes that he could have taken a different road and he could have made his life matter more than it did in the end. And when he talks about his friends going away, that's a real thing we all experience. I've had many friends pass away too early for different reasons, and it breaks you. It's so difficult to literally see your life and the attachments you had vanishing and disappearing all around you. And it's also interesting because he did, in fact, accomplish many things that were great. He married his soulmate and best friend, June Carter. I mean, even though it happened the way that it did, with him leaving his first wife, he did pursue what his heart knew was best for him. And that was this relationship with June Carter. And they ended up being the greatest love of one another's life. So he does have a lot of beautiful things that he was able to do in his time here. But I think that's what brought him into the fullness of awareness, because once you come to love, you come into intelligence. You become conscious, you become aware of how much time you lost, how much of it you just pissed away because you were angry and pissed and rebelling against things and hurting yourself. And so it's an interesting thing to watch him unpack his truth at this stage in his life, because I know that he knows that he did some things that were really great, but in the end, the song really speaks about the regrets. And it's a cautionary tale for all of us, because I believe that intelligent people learn from the mistakes of others. You don't always have to repeat all these mistakes yourself. And we all have regrets. We all have things we've done that we wish we hadn't done, that hurt us if we have consciousness. But it's how we deal with that. It's how we make that right while we're here that really changes how we feel about ourselves. None of us know how long we're going to be here. We could walk outside of our door tomorrow and that's that. Drop of a heart attack. You never know when your last day is. So it's really about making the most important impact you can while you're here, and living the purest, most authentic life you can, and really being a force of love and being honest with yourself and getting in touch with your emotions and really working with what needs to be healed, what's really calling inside of you, what hurts, what is it that is causing the depression, what is it that's causing the anxiety and the overwhelm. Rather than running from it, we have an opportunity to stare it right in the face and to listen. And I promise you, I've gone through this process myself. When you do that, things start to get better. They really do. The more that you get to know yourself, the more you get to know what that dragon is that you've been running from. The running part is the scariest part. It's the hardest part. But when you stare it right in the face and you listen to it and let it communicate, that's when your entire life journey starts changing, and you have a greater capacity to actually handle reality and to design your reality and your experience in a way that feels so much better than the toxic behaviors of running and hiding. Let's listen some more.
I will let you down. I will make you hurt.
You stay the hell away from me, you hear?
I wear this crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair.
There you have it, the regrets. The regrets, they haunt him in this track. And they haunt all of us. Because why do we have regrets? Because our soul, it came here in body to experience life in the most beautiful and pure and giving and innocent way. It didn't really come here to be destroyed, to be heartbroken. It knew that might happen, but it did not come here for that purpose. So if we're in a position where we're allowing our hearts to be broken and us feel broken, we become frozen. We become unable to get past blocks, unable to move into the higher dimensions within ourselves. And then we're unable to bloom so that we can give all these higher dimensions to those around us. And that's why the regrets exist. Because there's a war between the ego and the heart and soul. See, the heart always knows why you're here. And the mind, it doesn't know that. It'll ridicule you for that, or criticize you for trying to even believe in that part of yourself. And I feel like this song really embodies a person who walked in ego. And ego is a survival part of the brain that is not to be identified with. It's something that we use to survive. It's something that remembers all the harm that's happened to us. It's a red flag system. But it's not our true identity. But we oftentimes, when we feel weak and vulnerable in our emotional strength, we want to identify with the ego, because the ego gives us cover. It masks our vulnerabilities, because inside we feel really fragile and vulnerable, and we don't ever want to feel that way again, because someone has preyed upon us at some point in our life through that vulnerability. So oftentimes people who are identified with ego, it's because they are really trying to overcome a cruelty and a suffering that they endured at some point in their life, or they saw someone else endure, and they don't ever want that happening to them again or at all. So over the course of your life, that ego, if you're identifying with it, will really rob you of the joy of being in peace, being in knowing, feeling love, this love experience that comes through the heart and soul, that's like a river that runs through you that just never ends, and it has so much capacity to heal and love and give and receive in the most purest, most delightful ways. But the ego takes that from you. So when we're focused on our suffering and we create an identity around that, we kind of lock ourselves in to that experience rather than overcoming it, which is what the experience is for. You know, everything can't be perfect and wonderful. We knew that as souls when we came here. But at the same time, we were meant to go beyond that limitation experience. We were meant to learn from it, grow from it, and help others out of that. And that's why the regrets exist in this track, because it shows the limitation and what got really taken from that human experience and that soul's experience, because they stayed stuck in the depression and the overwhelming part that the suffering created. Let's listen to more.
Beneath the stains of time, the feelings disappear. You are someone else. I am still right here. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end. And you could have it all.
Amen. He's like, you can have it all, because he finally realizing what this life was meant to be. It's not for self-aggrandizement. It's not for worship. It's not for you to express all your pain and toxicity. It's not for you to, do tons of drugs and like deaden yourself. That just creates more shame and anger and pain. It just makes it worse because time is passing you by, and there are some people who are not investing in that. And over time, you get a chance to see what your life could have been had you invested in getting over that trauma that had plagued you, really looking at it, really befriending yourself, really letting others come into your life and teach you a different process in a different way. And in the end, when you don't do that, you realize everything that you did was meaningless to you. It was a waste of your time, a waste of your whole precious life. And you don't know if you're going to have another one. This life is what matters. Now is the time, right now. You don't know what's going to be tomorrow, if tomorrow's even promised. I can't tell you how many people I have lost who thought they had tomorrow. I can't believe how many people, how many young people, my best friends I've lost because they thought they would have tomorrow, and it was taken from them so quickly, like a thief in the night. So if there's anybody who's feeling this conversation is really speaking to your soul, then now is the time to really look in that face of that pain and find your courage and your strength to say, no, my life matters, and I want to get through this. I not only want to get through this, I want to get better because of this. And I don't want to waste my whole life in pain and suffering. On the last day, when I take my last breath, I want to feel inner peace. I want to feel good. I want to know that those around me know that I love them and I cared. I want to stop living for myself and my own anger and my own pain. And I want to live to serve others and do good by others, because that's how you transmute the process. That's how you do it. When something hurts you, you go and do something beautiful for someone else. This is how we change the process of having it destroy us. We can transmute that by making life better for someone else who really needed it. An animal, a person, an experience in the community. And over time, the way that you feel changes. I promise you it's so worth it. Invest in that. Invest in transmuting the process, and the pain will subside, and there will be more and more understanding of what's really true, who you really are. Because the things that happened to us in the past, they're no longer in existence, only in your mind, only in your pain body, in your experience. But you can change that. You can make peace with that. You can accept what happened. Acceptance is such a big part of healing. Accept that it happened. Accept that it hurt. Accept that it wasn't fair. And accept that you're choosing to let it go. Accept that whoever did this to you was messed up. Maybe they still are. Maybe they only were at that time. But forgiveness is key. Letting it go is a part of that forgiveness so that you are not hurting yourself. Because when we hold on to traumas, we take the pain that was caused to us and we keep using it against ourselves. We keep punishing ourselves for what we didn't do, for what we didn't know, for what happened to us. And that's just not the right thing. Your soul wouldn't want that. Your heart didn't come for that. You're stronger than that. Instead, go and smell the flowers. Let the wind speak to you. Start coming alive in your sensory body. Hear the birds whatever's available to you, connect to the dimension of the sensory self that's pure. Because this is another part of how you'll transmute that pain, my friend. Let's listen some more.
My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, a million miles away, I would keep myself. I would find a way.
Oh, so powerful. He says, I would keep myself. That's what that's exactly, it's so profound. He says, I would keep myself. What is he saying? He's saying he was disconnected from himself. He was disconnected emotionally from himself. For all of these years, Johnny Cash died at 71 years old. That's a long time to not know yourself, to be disconnected from yourself. That's a pain and a burden. When you're not connected with yourself emotionally and in your heart and soul, when you're not connected to the beauty that your spirit can bring you, the pain is unbelievable that you carry, because you're ingesting all the messed up things that are happening in the world everywhere. And you're not able to transmute that by bringing something more beautiful into it. When you're disconnected from yourself, you don't have intimacy with yourself. You don't have trust. You can't trust anyone around you. You don't have the ability to go beyond the hurt experience. And you shut down and you disassociate and you disconnect because it's too overwhelming. And then when you start medicating yourself with drugs or alcohol or sex or whatever addictions you have created, you see even more trauma and more messed up things. And it becomes even more traumatic because now you're carrying around a whole huge heavy suitcase full of experiences of how messed up the world is. If we've been able to transmute that experience and get into honest communication with it and look at it and own it, no matter how difficult it was, to say, I'm strong enough, I'm an adult, I'm going to look at that child within and I'm going to befriend that child. I'm going to protect that child. I'm going to tell that child, I know somebody hurt you so bad so long ago, but I will never let that happen to you again. I love you. I want to know you. You're free and safe with me. And that's a part of healing that's really important, is you want to recover the innocent part of yourself, the boy, the girl, the part that got hurt so long ago can be brought into protection and love, and you can have communion with that spirit part of yourself. And you can get beyond the trauma that happened to you that way. So I encourage anybody who's feeling overwhelmed, depressed, anxious, rageful, if you find yourself in these patterns where, you're trying to annihilate yourself by whatever means, ask your heart, what is it that hurts you so badly? And find the courage to be with that conversation. If you need any assistance with this type of processing work, please go to my website. I'm happy to help you. I make pre-recorded videos or I do one-on-one sessions. And as an empath, I care so deeply about everyone. And I just want everybody in this world to actually know how important they are, know how loved they are, and to feel that love once again. If you have any videos you'd like me to react to, please leave those in the comment section below. And I hope you'll subscribe to my channel so that we can have more conversations about empathic intelligence. May peace be with you and in you and all around you. I love you. Be well.